So a few moments ago, we heard in Luke's gospel the story of Simeon, and now we continue that story in Luke chapter 2. Listen for the word of the Lord. There was also a prophet, Anna, the daughter of Phanuel, of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age, having lived with her husband 7 years after her marriage, then as a widow to the age of 84. She never left the temple, but worshipped there with fasting and prayer night and day. At that moment she came and began to praise God and to speak about the child to all who were looking for the redemption of Jerusalem. When they had finished everything required by the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own town of Nazareth. The child grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favor of God was upon him. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. We can only imagine how tired Mary and Joseph must have been by this point. Think about it. They traveled from Nazareth to Bethlehem, a mere 80 miles or so. Mary gave birth to Jesus in strange surroundings, laid him in what was essentially an animal trough. Now, I don't know about you. I have not given birth. I have not felt well, and I've not felt my best, and usually when that is the case, I want to be at home, don't you? Familiar surroundings, a place you can rest and relax, recover. And yet they had to remain. They had to remain in the south where they were, so they could go to the temple in Jerusalem for the ritual of purification, where Jesus would be marked as a child of the covenant. How tired they must have been. Just exhausted, weary to their bones. And the elation of the angel Gabriel and his appearance, the child's birth, the shepherd's visit, must be long gone by now, right? I mean, after all, such excitement itself is also draining. And can't you just imagine at this point just how beat they were? How tired they must have been. Maybe we can kind of imagine. I mean, after all, we might get tired of Christmas too. Maybe you and I. I don't know, we begin hearing about Christmas as early as September. Stores start clearing spaces for trees and decorations and lights to go up. We begin hearing Christmas, or at least holiday songs, right, on the radio in November. Usually the lights and decorations are all up the weekend after Thanksgiving, if not earlier, right? And so if we are weary of Christmas, who could blame us? Just last Sunday evening, how many people did we have here singing Joy to the World in Silent Night? And here we are, those dedicated few who remain to continue celebrating Christmas together are here. If the world around us grows weary of Christmas, who should blame them? My goodness, I can remember one year turning on the radio to hear Christmas songs on Christmas Day, and the station that had been playing Christmas songs nonstop since the day after Thanksgiving stopped playing Christmas songs by 11 o'clock that morning. Lucy seems to get this attitude. Charlie Brown and Lucy are talking, and Lucy says, "Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown. At this time of year, I think we should put aside our differences and try to be kind." This is Lucy saying this. "Why does it have to be for just this time of year?" asked Charlie Brown. "Why can't it be all year round?" And Lucy looks at Charlie Brown and says, What are you, some kind of fanatic or something? At the point that Christmas is over and the presents are all unwrapped and the company may or may not be back home, we are weary of Christmas. At least the world around us may be. After all, wouldn't it take some kind of fanatic or something to be filled with Christmas joy, Christmas peace, Christmas hope any longer than that? Actually, I knew a woman. She was a parishioner at the church I previously served, and she had her house decorated for Christmas year-round. She could not leave her home anymore because of her health, or seldom did. And I remember the first time I went to visit her, I don't know how many, it was probably like in March, right? I don't know how many parishioners came up and said, "Oh, she decorates her home for Christmas year-round. Wait till you go." But that's not the way most of us are, is it? I mean, for most of us, at least for most around us, we're kind of through with it. And I wonder if that might be the sort of place where Mary and Joseph are, just through with that experience, ready to be home, ready to move on with their new life with child in tow. And knowing that this may be exactly where they were, God gave them something to sustain them. Because when we need encouragement, God puts people in our lives to help sustain us. When we need encouragement, God puts people in our lives to help sustain us. God placed Simeon and Anna in Mary and Joseph's lives. Simeon, who'd waited a good portion of his life for this moment with this child, and Anna, a prophet at the age of 84, speaking over the 8-day-old Jesus. Can't you just imagine that scene? Offering the Lord praise for this child. Friends, we need Simeons. We need Annas when we get weary. We need to be reminded of what God has accomplished and what God has promised yet to do. Just as we heard a moment ago, God keeps God's promises. But we forget that sometimes, and we need to be reminded. We need to be encouraged not to give out, to give in, to give up in our own fatigue, in our own weariness. We need those voices who speak the truth of God into our hearts, a truth so rich and full of God's love that it gives us new hope, new meaning, new energy in trying times. And so in our passage today, we see that there are those who endure, like Mary and Joseph, and those who encourage, like Simeon and Anna. And sometimes we're one of those who are enduring in our call and in our lives, in our walk with Christ. And sometimes we're the ones offering encouragement. But oh, don't we need each other? And you know, the amazing thing that I see when I look at Simeon and Anna, for instance, is they're really both, aren't they? They are both the endurers and the encouragers in today's passage. Just look at Anna. What an amazing person of faith. What an amazing story. 84 years old in those hard days. 84 years old, fasting, praying, living in the temple, we're told, non-stop, all to see a child that she trusted in faith was coming soon. She was there, ready to worship God, ready to encourage Mary and Joseph. And we today can praise too, because the Christ child came for us. And this can be an encouragement to you and to I, to me, because God gives us the child as well as one another to spur us on, to give us hope, to keep going. It is not lost on me that in many church circles this will be called Low Sunday. the Sunday after Christmas and the Sunday after Easter often is. What we mean by low, well, usually we mean low in attendance. Certainly hope it's not low in spirit. As we continue to celebrate Christmas today, we also celebrate the people in the church that are always here in church. That's us, pretty much, isn't it? I feel like I'm preaching to the choir today. I could kind of tilt the pulpit in this direction, but that's really all of us. We're the choir. We're here. That's right. That's right. But you see, us being here is a sign of our endurance and faith, of our encouragement. Christmas isn't over, it continues on. And our faith and our walk with Christ doesn't end on Christmas morning when all the festivities are over. It continues. The thing is that we need encouragement, don't we? Even we who endure in our faith, who live on in our faith, need to be encouraged as well. It's also true that we are not here to be patted on the back, and I know that. Because this is really not about us. It's about God who came to worship. It's about God who sent the child so that we would no longer have a gulf remaining between us and the Lord who made us. And it's also, interestingly enough, about those outside these walls. A scholar in the commentary section of your bulletin noted for Luke who wrote Luke's gospel and also the Acts of the Apostles, and for him, the mission of taking Christ's gospel to the Gentiles was so important. This is actually the first time that we see in Luke's gospel the Gentiles mentioned. It's pretty significant. It's Simeon who mentions them. Simeon, who is waiting for the Messiah, the Christ child, says, "A light for revelation to the Gentiles and for glory to your people Israel." This isn't just about us. It's about God, and it's about those outside our walls. Nor is this going to be easy, as he reminds us that a sword will pierce your soul too. And so, remembering that God came for us, but not just us. Remembering that we celebrate the Christ child now in the season, but in a few months that child will ask us to take up our crosses and follow him. Remembering all of this, we endure in our faith. Because we know it's important that we do. It matters that we continue to follow God, not just when it's easy or when things are good or when the spirit is high. Because God is God, we will follow. But I will tell you this, it isn't always easy. And you know that too. You're here braving, 20-degree weather on New Year's Eve. In faith, we need endurance, and in faith, we need encouragement. And it's a good thing that God gave us the church, the place where we can find those who endure in their faith and be encouraged by them and encourage one another. This is the fellowship of those who endure for the sake of the one who came for us. We are called, friends, to be Simeons and Annas, waiting for a glimpse of God's glory. And really, to praise God and to encourage each other. Friend, you are a Simeon. You are an Anna. Bear that name. Be surrounded by those who endure and encourage you, and endure in your faith and encourage others. Because in the coming year, we will need all the support that we can get through the trials and the triumphs of life, the everydays and the surprising turns of 2018. Now, speaking of surprising turns, strange turns, and the unexpected, our January sermon series, we're going to be looking at the early gospel stories, the stories of Christ's early ministries, and how Jesus encourages and amazes many in those days and us still today. And remember, our theme sort of throughout the year is story. Great stories have twists and turns, don't they? And so we're going to be looking in the Gospels at those twists and turns and what they can teach us about the surprises that happen in our own lives. And so I hope you will endure and join us through that. But for now, friends, as we slowly and very soon move into 2018, may Luke's words about Christ be our benediction. In 2018, may you grow in faith, may you become strong, filled with wisdom, and may the favor of God be upon you all. Amen.